Good day, everyone, and welcome to another Fastman Spotlight. I'm Brian Lapointe. I'm the Vice President of Sales for Fastman, and today we will be speaking with Laurie Guti from the Snohomish County Public Utility District that's located in Everett, Washington. Yeah, for those that are interested in the geography, that's about 30 miles north of the downtown Seattle area too. The intent of today's session is to have a conversation to learn more about how SnowPUD is using the OpenText Content Suite system and where the Fastman tools are having a high impact for them. Over the next few months, we're looking forward to hosting more of these sessions and spotlighting successful deployments so as to share best practices and network with the Content Suite and extended ECM community. Let me operate this. Okay. So moving along, the SnowPUD utility was established a long time ago in 1936 for the purpose of providing publicly owned electric and water utility service to the people of Snohomish County. Its history is linked to the public power movement in the Pacific Northwest. Since it operates in a highly regulated industry, it's important to maintain robust records management and document control for its critical infrastructure. Hence, they selected the OpenText Content Suite platform. Laurie, would you like to introduce yourself and explain to the audience your primary use cases for Content Suite?
Hi, my name is Laurie Guti, and I'm a Senior Application Analyst at the PUD. I've worked there since September of 2006. I support all of our OpenText applications, which include Content Suite and StreamServe. Our primary use of Content Server is to store all of our non-structured data from SAP and StreamServe. And secondary is our departmental folders that have been migrated off of file shares.
Wow, that's great. And thank you for that background. Next up, let's see if I can navigate this. Yeah, let's take a look at how you're keeping the lights on up there at SnowPUD. So could you maybe walk us through your journey a little more specifically here?
Oh boy, it's been a journey. In 2012, we deployed Content Server to about 6 departments, and Content Suite was chosen for its records management abilities primarily. In 2016, we implemented SAP, and along with that came the implementation of extended ECM, brought on a ton of workspaces, and we went from having 6 departments to all of our employees as users of Content Server. So it greatly increased it. So since 2016, everybody's been in Content Server, and it's got high visibility at the PUD. In 2019, we moved to the cloud, and Fastman came along to the cloud with us, which was very important to us that that functionality still existed for us once we moved to the cloud.
That's good. So yeah, it's interesting how you've started, you're a long-time user of the Content Suite platform, version 10 or so, on-prem, and made the transition to the cloud, and everyone's on the OT cloud today. That's interesting. So what tips would you share with the Content Suite community before taking on an information project, if you had to go back and look at it?
Oh gosh. Just have solid onboarding processes for how you're going to create your folders, what folder structure. Don't create every folder you think you might need or the departments think they need. Just becomes major overhead and big headaches. And then just have a solid permissions module in place to manage that, because that can become very burdensome if you don't.
How has the SAP integration worked out for you?
It's been a journey. It's works very well. It's just, you gotta make sure that you, once again, that comes to having your business workspaces and limit the amount of folders that you think you need and use when you create those workspaces. Because we ended up deleting a huge amount of workspaces that had nothing in them, or not workspaces, but folders below the workspaces that had nothing in them. So that was a huge lesson learned.
There you go. Yeah, keeping it simple is always in different areas, especially in folder structures.
You can always add, but removing was that was a big process. Once we convinced the departments that they didn't need these folders, that they were just causing huge overhead, getting rid of the folders and the empty folders was a whole nother project for us.
Yep, every folder is an object, and it just adds to the overhead and complexity and performance of the system. So I've seen it many times. Yep.
Yeah. So you got to convince the users going in that they don't need everything they think they're going to need, and let them use it for a while before they decide what they actually need.
Fantastic. Hey, just going to transition a little more and take a look at the some of the Fastman solutions that you guys are using in this next section. So what tools are having a high impact for SnowPUD and from Fastman? So you have two Fastman solutions, Permissions Manager and Bulk Data Manager. What's your favorite and why?
Bulk Data Manager, love it. Love it. It so simplified the process for migrating the department file shares into content server above what we were using with object importer, and so much simpler, so much more straightforward. Just simplified my life greatly.
Yeah, so you use that. That's an ongoing project for you, bringing in all these folders, it sounds like.
Yes.
And you've used it on-prem, but then when you transition to the OT cloud, you needed to continue to use this. You wanted to use the same tool for the cloud, which, as we all know, when you move to different networks and technology systems, that the, it just, you have different things you need to consider.
That was a requirement for us. We want to make sure we had our Fastman tools available in the cloud. Because we use them and they're so helpful, and without them, it just is a lot harder to support these apps.
Right. Hey, we got a couple scenarios here up on the screen here. Maybe this one's specifically to Permissions Manager. Could you walk us through how it's helped you out in your organization? This one right here.
Collections is a huge deal to me because when we had to push, especially before we got rid of all the multiple folders that were empty, but to push permissions down to the level of folder structures that we needed was timing out, taking too long, and timing out for us once we moved to cloud. So by doing it by collections, just made it so much simpler and just more straightforward.
So you're able to go across all those workspaces and just pick out a specific folder that needs updating. And then you can create a larger set. And otherwise you'd be having to go into each folder manually or write some program to do it, right?
Yep. Huge.
I would say over the last 12 months, we've had numerous people come to us with that, where they're trying to do that type of cleanup, especially as you get into
Yeah.
using more business workspaces as people deploy extended ECM. So we have a lot of customers like that. That's good. Another scenario is this is the onboarding one. Can you tell us how you use Permissions Manager for onboarding?
I can copy, usually when we get a request, it will be for a specific position, or sometimes with, say, customer service reps, they're in different jobs and they'll need access to different folders or different set of permissions. So usually they will just give us, say, a person that is in that position currently, and I can just take that person and copy over the permissions. Because a lot of times they don't even know what, I'm like, what folders do they need or whatever. We'll just say, what job are they doing, same as, and I can go and find the user, copy over the permissions. That simple.
Yeah, this feature has been in the Permissions Manager from the very early stages of it, and it is still one of the most popular pieces of the tool. So
it's real, and really more than the copy is the compare, right? If you're having access issues, to have to go back and forth between somebody's, user screens to see who's got what permissions. Here, it's all laid out for you, straightforward.
I mean, you can see it in the screenshot I'm displaying right here. You got two users, and you can see G Hardy on the left, all the groups, and you can see the differences between comparing D Hardy to D Archer. And then if you want to, you can edit the group, leave the group, everything's in one screen for you to make the changes.
And you can roll it back if
you make a mistake, you get rolled back. Yep.
Yeah.
The oops button, we call it. So
yeah.
Well, thank you. That's some fantastic examples. How it vastly improves permissions management and onboarding in your content suite system. We find that Permissions Manager or just permissions management and access in general is the number one incident type in maintaining OpenText Content Suite. From many of our customers, they tell us that. But hey, next up, let's talk about what you mentioned before with Bulk Data Manager as your favorite. But let's talk about data migration from network shared drives. What was the scope and size of the effort in terms of data transfer, like including metadata requirements? Can you give just a little background on what that was? Like, was it a large transition that you have to do? Are you adding a lot of metadata to enrich these documents, or what's a little more specifically do you like about the BDM or the Bulk Data Manager tool?
Oh man, so we take one department at a time. We prep them to move. We try to make them clean up their file shares as much as possible, which is always a treat to do. And then we also run some compares and try to dedupe a lot of the data that's in the file shares, right? Because this is years and years of data in these file shares that we're trying to move and clean up. And then we get the folder structure, and we build the folder structure just like it is in the file share. And once we have it cleaned up and have gone through the dedupes and all that, we will set it up. I'll set it up in Bulk Data Manager to move over the files in any given department. And we move it to test first. That way it gives them a training ground for the new department to come and use it. It gives me ability to see what's going to be the issues when we go to move it to production. And also how long we'll need for the move. And we plan the moves over the weekend. Some take, I've had some that go a little over, but generation is one of our hugest moves. And it was about 500,000 files. It was a big move, big effort. But with Bulk Data Manager, I was able to get it done in a weekend. And through the logs, easy restart when it stop for any given reason. And I figure out how to chunk it out within the folders and
Right.
stuff. So I'm not creating too big of a move at once. So if there are issues, the restarts are painless. So
That's good.
So,
That's good.
yeah.
So it sounds like you're using primarily in that scenario the load taxonomy, because it's bringing in the folder structure from the network drive,
Yeah.
rebuilding that. And are you tagging it with category and attribute data too as it comes in?
We do. But mostly is the taxonomy moves. We do categories for records management purposes.
Okay, that's useful too. Yeah.
Mhm.
The other popular piece to this, you see in the screenshot the different modules, but just the update attributes. So if you have content in the
Yes.
content suite platform, and you need to bulk update the metadata to enrich it,
Yeah.
and that includes the records management classifications,
Right.
which can be a thing.
Which-
It's able to actually read it and then allow you to do an update in bulk,
Yeah.
in mass.
Which we will be using that too, because a lot of them, when we first move them in, we don't always have all that. So the load attributes is huge too.
Yeah. Yeah, we see people looking to just improve the information integrity, to use a word right there. You can get stuff in its raw format, or the way the content was being used in some other system that was relevant to them. But now that it's in a new system, you gotta find a way to massage the data and make it more relevant so that the integrity of the data is more useful. So that's where we see people using bulk data manager during the life cycle, not just to get the information in, but then afterwards, how to, can use it for, different areas to do the enrichment and make it more searchable, or, improve the records management on it more accurately. So that I'm glad you guys are enjoying that. Okay, so I think we're good here. We're ready to kind of maybe wrap this up. Thank you for spending time with Fastman today and sharing your valuable insights to the Content Suite community. I know that the Fastman technical delivery team really enjoys working with SnowPUD, and we're especially proud to play an important part in your journey from an on-prem content server user to the OT cloud. That was a big deal. We see many other Content Suite platform users with similar data integrity use cases that fit within the Fastman sweet spot that we talked about today. So, well done, and keep us posted on your journey. And again, we really appreciate you taking the time to share your stories and expertise with us, with the community today. I know it will resonate with, with the Fastman permissions manager customers who are out there who have the similar perspectives on getting the maximum performance out of your system, and and just reducing, not everyone has a lot of admin, so reducing that administrative burden on central IT, so it's useful to the business. So thank you, Laurie, for that. Appreciate it. And we'll see it enter at OpenText World.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, everyone.